What's going on, everyone? Hope everybody's having a good day. Um, I'm Scott Brody. I'm the creative director at Heartshake Games and designer and programmer on We Are The Caretakers. I am trying to do a weekly stream, mostly working on encounters as of late, but we'll be showing off lots of the work the team's doing. Um, Last week, I was working on getting each ability to play a unique animation in encounters. And so today, or over the last week, I've been finishing out that feature, and now I'm moving on to um, starting to add some new animations that haven't been in the project. So I grabbed a whole bunch from a library, and now I'm going to try to uh, fill out our list of animations and make the combat look a lot better. So that's what I'm working on today. If you don't know much about the game, you can check it out on Steam, um, or follow me on Twitter at Brody Games, and I'll be posting a whole bunch about it. Appreciate any wish lists or follows. I'm gonna try to stream and just work on a whole bunch of stuff for the next hour. Then I have to bail. If anybody in Michigan is here, I'm actually gonna be in downtown Detroit. In the next few hours for an event talking about getting into the game industry. So take a look at that. Hey, what's going on, Luxie? Thanks for coming by. All right. The other cool thing that team's been working on a lot of stuff, but the one cool thing that I've been working on a lot recently is the original soundtrack. So we've got a local Michigan, or I should say was local to Michigan, now he's out in San Francisco, musician working with us, John Para, and we've got a host of tracks. So whenever I play the game today, you'll get a little taste of the latest revision for the battle track. So let me know what you think. But yeah, I'm just gonna start working on animations and talking through what I'm doing. So let me know if you guys have any questions about the game or what I'm doing. Also, I only shared the Twitch link, but if you use Mixer or YouTube or Steam, I'm streaming to all of those right now too. So running through combat real quick to make sure everything's looking good before I start messing with it. See, a lot of these characters are doing the same exact animations, so we've got all the states in place, but everything looks the same. They don't have a lot of personality. Cool, everything looks to be working. This music that is playing is not the battle track. I lied. This is just my radio, but here I'll turn it down so we can get a taste of that. Radio, listen to the radio, an online streaming service. Awesome, thank you. I'm glad you think it's looking good. Yeah, we've definitely been working on it quite a bit. This is just my little encounter sandbox. The game itself starts on a big RTS type map, and then you would go into this scene, but this just lets me iterate faster. So yeah, with the soundtrack, we're trying to blend like orchestral with like hip hop and electronic music. I think it's coming together pretty good. All right, but I got to get to work. So let's So what I did last week is I actually added individual states in my animation controller for up to 4 abilities that any character can have. And so now if we go to like any ability that a character might have, like for example, this barrage ability, I added a field for an animation clip, and now the game does some code where it will properly populate each character's ability animation, or I guess attack animation, as I've got it labeled here, based upon the ability they have. So that lets me kind of work with a single animation controller, and then just have it be populated on demand. So I'm going to do 2 things today. I'm going to look through my library and start populating some of these abilities. So right now I have like a yelling sort of animation for this barrage ability, but I want more of like a gun sort of shooting ability or animation. We're going to look for those and fill out a couple of them. And then if I have time, I'm going to try to add some more interesting or some smoother animations here. So for example, right now we have a very basic like idle to sort of a kneeling animation, which I think, yeah, if I go here, you can preview it. Go from idle down to a kneel, and it's fine, but it just happens really fast. But I have some animations from our mocap library that will let me like actually have a smoother kneel down and then get back up animation so it looks more natural. So I'm going to try to mess with those. Okay. Let me put back my music on, and I'll kind of just start thumbing through the animations I grabbed from Mixamo, and we can see what works for that ability. So I've downloaded a bunch of FBX files that just have animations that I thought looked good. So we'll couple these into the project. Try to get a little more organized than I've been past. Right now we've just put like the basic ones into a single folder. All right, so let's see, like shooting. Actually, why don't I just do this? I lied. I'm gonna be really sloppy. I'm gonna put all the new animations folder, and then I will sort them later because Unity will update the associations for me. Imported them, so now we can kind of just more easily browse them. Yeah, I lied. I think so. One of the things that I have to do, make sure we're using the humanoid rig, so we're not. So these, let me see if I can massive. These all need to use the humanoid rig instead of the generic rig. And that's purely because that's the way we set up our models. And if we do that, they can use our mocap data. Just set the system up to let us do that. I wish I knew more about how that works. Maybe we can get Anthony in here, our artist, to explain that one day, but it works, so I'm not going to complain. But the reason I wanted to do this switch now, other than to get it to work, is that once we do, then the preview will show like this generic character that we can then more easily just remind ourselves what the animations look like, and then be able to set them up to the right abilities. Riveting streaming, watching the update bar go by. I look up that event while we're waiting that I'll be going to tonight. Actual name and all that fun stuff. It looks like it's a startup called Shift Up that has sort of like a, I guess what he's calling it is like a learning gym, or like a place for people who learn online to meet up. And so they're having like a talk series tonight. I got invited to it the last minute, but I'm excited to go talk to some people about game dev. But I guess they're in downtown Detroit, so good things are happening down there. There's a question, so are the animations themselves from open source stuff? So yes. I'll bring it over here to show you where I got it from. So there is a website called mixamo.com that just has a mocap library, and it's actually free from Adobe. And they just have a library of data here. And what I did before the stream is I just went through and pulled down all the animations that seemed relevant to the abilities I know we have in the game or states I want to have. You can then click on them, preview them. They actually have it where you can modify. You can go in here and modify like the posture, how fast they go, that type of thing. So they actually have a little bit more control. But then you can just download them, and they actually have an FBX for Unity setting here that lets you download them, and they're kind of set up to go and work with the humanoid rig. So yeah, this is a cool library. It's a good way to, at least for us, it's a really good way to get a baseline for a 3D game and kind of punch above our weight a little bit as a small team. Yeah. But it looks like everything imported here. So now that I've switched the rig, I hope that when I go to the animation, okay, cool. So now they have like this generic character here that I can go in and preview. So this is just like a basic idle animation, like for like holding the sword or something like that, or maybe in our game for holding the staff. So we want more like a shooting type thing. See this one. All of you hear those dogs barking in the background? I hope not. We're dog sitting, and they are not liking what I'm talking right now. All right, that's a kneeling one, so I did want that for something else, but that's not what I'm looking for. That's more like a shot type thing. Our game's gonna have guns, but they're gonna be like sci-fi blastery type things, and really they're gonna be more for like imposing threat versus like having a lot of actual shooting being done in the game. I see this is like a bow and arrow sort of like title. Did want that for something. Thought for sure I had like a picked out the perfect animation for this. Can't find it. All right, well, I'll just pull in that other one for now, or maybe this might be it actually. All right, well, so I'll just go to this said earlier here. How that one looks. So it's called gunplay. If I go to my ability, barrage, go to this field I created, and unfortunately I have a lot of animations to sort through here, so that's the only annoying part of this setup, but just got to look it up ahead of time. Okay, and let's just see. Some of the characters already have this ability, barrage, so we'll see how it looks. So that's interesting. So they're shooting off to the side, the orientation of the animation. Okay. So how can we fix that? I think we can, but a couple things here. So there's some things we can edit. I'll just make this a little bit bigger. If we wanted this to be like an idle animation or a run where we wanted it to loop, we could make sure it looped, but this is just a one shot, so we don't need that. Right now, we can change the... Actually, let me see here. We have the camera like this, it's off to the side. So I could create a more complex solution and like, which I need to do at some point anyways, but I need to actually make the character rotate to face their target, so it looks a little more realistic and you can kind of read what they're doing. But let me just play with these rotation settings here to see if we can't get it to face forward. Might actually work. So I think what this means is it's either the orientation of the body, which is like the rotation of the game object. Original, I think, is more. I don't want to speak. I don't know for sure, but I think it's just like how it was initially animated, like regardless of the model that it's on. So that seems to be better. Let's just save that and see what happens. I'll check these to see. Play the game if he faces forward. If not, either. I mean, this is one of the hazards of mocap stuff, is that you have to do a little bit of cleanup, but it's probably faster than you know, either hiring a professional mocap studio or trying to build one in your house and then animating it yourself and all that fun stuff. So let's see. Still off to the side. think it's still, yeah, it's still going off like the facing. So like in our game right now, cameras like this. Looks like it's off to the side. We just try one more cleanup thing, and then we might just have to abandon this one. Just the start is really going to affect the animation data itself. Wonder, I haven't really messed with this before, but let's, just out of curiosity, if we can actually go in here, curve of the aha. So I'm just gonna mess with this real quick, but I doubt I can do anything meaningful here. But you could, in theory, go in here and get rid of keyframes or modify it, that type of thing, and customize it. I just hit curious if I can get the preview. So be the right hand. This is risky. I don't think I want to do this. Here, I guess I can just re-drag it in if I mess it up. I have it on my... I'm just really curious if this actually will do anything. Yeah, I can't actually edit it. Why is that? Okay. I'll mess with this another day, but it's good to know this option's here. All right. Let's just pick a different animation. Sorry, it is bugging me that I can't. Oh, here, pistol. So the other thing we can do here is I like this sort of like this, not this part of the animation, but that little spread at the end there, which I could have clipped in Mixamo. But what you can do is with this animation data, you can create different clips within each animation itself. So right now there's just the basic one, but I can just duplicate that, try to then shrink it down to what the part that I want. Skip all this. start like right like this. And he's turned to the side, so I don't know how, maybe that's just our orientation of the camera, but so apply this clip. I'm going to rename it to like garage. And now if you look down here, before there was just one animation, these are the different clips within this animation data. So now I've got this barrage clip. I can apply that to my ability. I don't know if this is going to look good, but I'm just actually curious. Orientation is even close. I just realized that one window's off screen. But yeah, selected the new animation. Let's see how that looks. It's probably going to look terrible again. I think what I'll do is move on to like the more combat abilities that should be able to more quickly just use the data that I have, that I picked out. Yeah, so there's something going on with the starting rotation of these animations that I'll just have to clean. So yeah, we'll come back to that. I'll go search the library and find a better animation for that particular ability. But I want to switch to a different ability called grapple. Pretty sure if I go back here, I had some like punching sort of, that would be good for this. But I think that might be good, but I think we have this one right. The one. Here we go. Here's a whole bunch of them. Oh, I think that was actually the one I was looking for barrage. Like, big swing. Actually do that real quick before I straight away. Standing melee attack 360. But if we go back to nations, these guys. One thing I'm noticing, animations feel a little bit slower than I set them up to be. Maybe that's not true. We will go just this basic hit there for grapple. I think the Ranger class has this ability. Just a basic melee attack. The one thing that I'm going to add sort of in a future stream or future work is to define if an ability is sort of like something that's casting, which they'll stand in place, or are they going to actually run to the target, do their animation, then run back. And so right now it's not going to look as strong. Oh, that was that new barrage animation. That's super interesting that they're all messed up like that. I probably just haven't gone through and adjusted the settings in each animation to get them to work like all these other ones, because I brought in a lot of animations and they all work. I just had to do a little tweaking. But I'm going to wait with him and try to get to this next character here, which is our Ranger class. I have Grapple, First Aid, and Intimidate. Grapple. Didn't look so good. What I'm going to do is look at, I've got nothing set up here in these settings. So what I'm going to do is look at some of my older animations that I have set up properly to see what I may be missing here. For example, this old gunplay one, if they've got original and stuff. I'm just going to go through on those. That'll help clean that up. Punching. That a shot. Yeah, unfortunately, it's a little bit of trial and error. We go here. But if this animation comes around, then we'll know that we just have to fix some of these other animations in the same way. Okay, so that looked good. It looks like he's turning to the side again. Huh. I'm going to go into the scene view. I'm just kind of curious. We go into the scene view, show little scene, just set up. So characters so that I can focus on them. Look at this guy though. Curious what it says his. What might be going on is because his idle animation rotates, so maybe the setting has it where like wherever rotation he's at, just continue from there. So I don't think we want that. We want it where no matter what, they'll forcibly return to like the original forward direction. Body orientation, original orientation. That might be the problem. We probably wouldn't even have noticed that if he had a more basic idle that didn't rotate. Fingers crossed. Terrible barrage. Oh yeah. All right. Apple. Better. I think it's a little better. Person has kick solid, so I just want to see if that animation shares the same. New kick. Yeah, I think this has body orientation. Oh. Go to my ranger class. See if he'll be facing forward if I give him a different idle. We have this class data that defines each of these character types, and one of the things I added is you can define idle animation. Rather than using this, I'm going to choose which won't be nothing. It just, if there is nothing defined here, it'll use the default, which is a more forward-facing standing still animation. So that'll give me some data here to see if it's the idle messing it up or just in general that punch is just always turned to the left. Okay, so he's still doing his old animation. Sorry, this is getting into the weeds a little bit, but we have a testing system that lets us like predefine these characters so that I don't have to like get the right random roll or set this up. And these are actually instances, so they don't have the updates I just made. So I'm gonna actually just wipe these out and get the new characters here. Generate 6 of them, hopefully we get Ranger. Get rid of it. Our new Ranger, he's got his more forward-facing standing idle. Good. Updated it. He's coming up right here. This is our turn order list here that still kind of looks ugly but gets the job done. Next. All right. Grapple, hopefully he's facing forward a little bit more. Yeah. Yep, so I think that's what it is. It just, there's, that animation is rotating and I need to somehow ensure that that animation comes back to the base idle or the base rotation before it plays, which I don't know off the top of my head how to do that. I'm gonna poke around for a second here, but try to move on. Give that one more try. Then I'll move on to the kneeling thing I wanted to do earlier. Normal idle. Curious if that center of mass change has any effect or not. Settings hat. Oh, I update the clone here. That. Oh, I see. So did not like that rotation. Characters were just placed, moving their arms but not rotating. I am curious if that ever work, or I have to probably give that a shot. Or worse. Oh, there we go. That fixed it. Probably speed that up. Make it sit with an effect. Hit everybody. Good. Yep. Then we get to our ranger. All right, so he's rotated. He's back facing forward. If I hit grapple while he rotated me. No, okay, there we go. That worked. He came back to his forward-facing position. So sweet. Know exactly what I did to fix it, but the main idea was that using these settings, we made sure that it doesn't build off of the current rotation. It resets to like baseline before starting to play. So we got grapple. See if healing has an animation. Good. What about heal? No, it does. Intimidate. Gesture. Oh, inspire. That's what it was. Vector has an ability called inspire that not have a good animation on it. I didn't think, at least. So, especially in our game, where while I do have some close-up cuts every now and then from afar, like this just isn't going to read. It's just going to look like he's like nodding his head. So we need something better for inspiring. That's like got some bigger sort of motion. So firing might be something where like look at your team and make kind of a gesture to them. Thankful. Tap. Terrible. Raising up your team, set it up a little bit. I'll keep that one in mind. Little much. Here we go. Bow might be good. Like that for a different, that's like pointing at you, I'm coming for you. So it's like an intimidate ability that this could work good for. Yeah, why don't we go with this one for now? Standing 1H magic or in here. So barrage animation is not half bad. I can totally see, rather than having like a gun metaphor, it's just sort of like a sweep sort of special effect. Fire. I think this will still work because it's on the ability. Cool, I can live with that. I think that's an improvement on where we were. All right, so I've got these in the project. I've put a few more in. I'm just gonna try to see quick ones that I know. Focus. Nation rather. Assigned to a thing. Good. So, see if I can squeak in here before I have to go. Change screen. So what I want to do is, now that every character is using the same animation controller, I want to improve this loop here of, get rid of the preview. Yes, it does. Full view. But right now, when a character gets into like the critical state where their stamina is down to 0, they go to like a kneeling animation. And that's fine. Then when they get up, so it's pretty abrupt. It doesn't have a lot of weight to it. It's just kind of like moving the bones, but not feeling like an actual transition that you'd make. So one of the things I think you could do is stretch out this transition time to like make it feel a little more natural. So see what happens if I do that. transition duration, let's change this to like a second. A little better, actually. Some of the helmets remind me of the Fused Shadow from Twilight Princess. Oh yeah, I can see that. I think we so AJ, or Anthony Jones, is our artist, and he's just got a style where he does a lot of creatures and masks, things like that. So he has said that, or I'm sorry, some other people have told us that like Warframe feels pretty similar. And we've looked at a lot of, I don't know, just like a random sort of like armor designs, like Infinity Blade, that type of thing. There's a lot of sort of games that have these sort of masked, almost like superhero-like designs. So we tried to apply that to make them look cool, but to fit into sort of our Afrofuturist world as well. Actually, yeah, this slowed down transition is better. It feels better, but it would be nice if like the character like put their arms down, push themselves up, that type of thing. So I found a couple of those animations in Mixamo, and I wanted to see if that would end up looking better. I have no idea if it will, but I have a kneeling and transition up. Oh, I'm sorry. The other reference was what's the new BioWare game? Like the what it's even called. Had a couple issues at launch. There's the new BioWare game that had like different suits and stuff. Also, we've gotten some questions about, or comparisons, excuse me. I can't think and code at the same time here. But I had a kneel. So the kneel. Anthem. Yep, that's what it was. Anthem. The kneel we have. Kneeling down. There's a kneeling down animation. There's a kneeling idle. There's a different kneel though, unfortunately. Doesn't look terrible. I'll insert the states so we can play with the animations later. So what we need to do, create a new state, our sort of animation state machine here. We'll call this like kneeling or something like that. Add that for now. Down. Here. And we're going to basically change this idle to critical. So when is critical is true, instead of going directly here, we are going to here instead. And then once this plays, instead of having to have any sort of transition, we're just going to have it automatically go through. No condition. has an exit time, so it should just here's where transition from idle. Well, that's interesting. I need to edit this kneel animation first. So let me just do that. These settings here. Back here. If it's still gonna have like a weird. Oh, okay, that's much better. There was just some additional stuff going on. I think we want him to kneel a little bit faster, so I can actually go in here and speed this up a bit. Whoops. Play. Cool. So we've got that, and then what I'll need to do is remove this transition because I don't know actually what would happen if we had two with the same transitions. Get rid of this transition. I think I can just hit delete on it. Anything before I do. Delete. Oh, there we go. Good old numlock blocking me from hitting delete. What I'm gonna do to see this animation happen in the game, I actually have to get them to critical. So I need a fast sort of cheat to let me do that. And I think what I'm gonna do is just use my Ranger's grapple ability and just turn it up to 11. It'll be kind of a one-shot hit. Now, go to, what I need to do, I need to go to my character, bump up their strength. Testing system. Here. This. And strength way up. That should give us 100 damage to 200 damage, which is more than most characters actually work. I could go into code and make a cheat, but I just wanted to see if there was something I could do before I ended the stream. Check him out. Yep, so strength is 131. Cool. I build my code. So what I'm going to do is try to attack my ranger, attack one of these characters to get down to 0, and then they should go into that critical state. Instead of going directly to the kneel, they'll do the kneel down first. Oh, wait. Or odd mode attack here. 83, so that should put him at 0. That ability has a bug in it. That's interesting. So the feedback for how much damage they're doing is not showing, and they're not doing damage. Let's see if any of these abilities are actually doing damage, or if there's a bug I'm missing. Probably mess something up. Use rush ability works. Sounds like good. Well, I'll have to sort that out off stream. I don't know why the abilities aren't actually damaged. But set this up. I guess the thing you can learn here is that the way that this is currently triggered is we set up these parameters for various things. So these ones with the circles are called triggers, and in code, which I'll show in a second, you can just set this trigger to true, and when it does, the animation controller will then say, it'll detect, okay, my current condition is that this parameter has changed to true, so go ahead and trigger if I'm in idle, which most of the characters are while they're waiting, to say, okay, transition to this animation. And so that's how they would kneel. And then without any transitions, it will automatically go and follow any transitions that don't have conditions. So, so once this is done playing all the way through, it'll just continue down its line here. And this is a sort of kneeling idle, which it'll sit there until it recovers in stamina, and then we send a is critical is false, and then they'll stand up. So that's how this is set up, and I'll just need to kind of tweak this as I go. So let me actually, I'll just show you the code real quick too. So if I go to like ability, so this function right here, fairly involved. It's basically when it's time to use an ability in combat, we just call execute on this order object that we've kind of set in the queue. So we've defined what they're going to do ahead of time, and then we kind of take that order and execute it. And part of that is playing that animation. And so you can see here that when I find my targets, I tell the target, well, there's a lot of checks we're doing here, but fundamentally, once we're at a point where we know they're at zero stamina and we want them to change their state to critical, we just simply set that Boolean to critical, to true, and then the animator immediately knows, okay, check my states, should I do anything with it? That's kind of how the whole system is set up, and now I'll just have to tweak this setup to look better. So I do need to run, but thanks a lot for hanging out. I'll continue this and show the result of it kind of next week or later this week. Show that I'm not terrible and can actually get things to work. But yeah, thanks again for hanging out. If you haven't already, please wishlist the game. Follow our Discord. It's discord.gg / We Are The Caretakers and all that fun stuff. So yeah, thanks and have a good one.